Come on. Welcome to Selling Orange County. I'm Conrad Majeka, a realtor living in Huntington Beach and a former financial planner. Joining me as always is my partner, Crystal Rains, a military relocation specialist covering San Diego. So today we have a really special guest, Simon Polito, an experienced real estate auctioneer. We're going to break down exactly how real estate auctions work, who they're right for, and what you need to know whether you're a seller, a buyer, or navigating a probate or trust situation. So drop your questions in the comments and we'll get to them as soon as we can and as fast as we can. And so let's get into it. So Simon, welcome. Well, let's get a little bit of context about your background as a real estate auctioneer. Nope.
Oh, you're muted. Sorry. Turn your volume on.
Can you hear me now?
There
you go. Okay. There's something with my phone. I just worked out your phone. My phone now connects as a microphone. So that's what I did. I messed up. Sorry about that, guys. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it. So for me, I've been a real estate agent and auctioneer for 25 years around the world, 3 different countries. I'm still licensed in those countries. I've obviously been in the United States for the last 10 and love what I do, partnering up with great agents like yourselves. Obviously, Crystal, Conrad, we just had some great success with selling one of our listings at the end of last year and closing it out, getting it in a tough market, guys. Tough market. You guys know the numbers. 72% of all agents last year in the United States didn't even do a deal. And not only did we do a deal, we were able to represent both sides, get it cleanly done, help our client, which is the most important part of this. And now she's able to live a beautiful life that she's been longing for many years. So that's what I do. I love doing it.
You couldn't have said that better.
Yeah.
Really great situation worked out. And it was just a wonderful, experience with an auction. And it was Crystal and I, over that period of time, we had over 100 people in the open houses. It was stacked. We were right on, par with everything. So before, we get back into that story. So Simon, most people, picture a gavel and a crowd, but what does a real estate auction actually look like in 2026?
Good question.
The basic process.
Yeah, so you're right. A lot of people, when I say I'm an auctioneer or I say the word auction, they think of a negative connotation immediately. Oh, something wrong with my house, or there's, you're giving it away, bank owned, foreclosure, negative. And that's the connotation that we're trying to change in the United States, because it seems to be the only country that thinks about that word that way, from my findings anyway. So we run a very effective 28-day program that is very aggressive, partners with the listing agents. And you guys can vouch for this and say, like, when we do what we do, auctions just work as long as we all work together, If one person doesn't fulfill their duties as part of the team, unfortunately, the team doesn't win. Just like a soccer game, just like a baseball game, football game, it's a team effort. So we have some pretty strict rules. Crystal found out about them early on, but she realized that what we were trying to instill was not like discipline or bullying. We were trying to instill a system that works.
And there was so much, just to chime in, there was so much growth. The more you understand and the more educated you are on the process, the better you can deliver. And I was very not informed. And it was so great to get Simon's education because it changed the whole game for my client. I'm not speaking for me. It's for my client. And I'm so grateful for him and what he did.
So we're seeing, and thank you, because I wouldn't have the opportunity if it wasn't for both of you guys to partner up on this. So this conversation wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you guys. So I appreciate that. Look, as I said, as a team, we succeeded. We succeeded as a team. But to your question, Conrad, where do I see auctions in 2026? I see it as a very aggressive, smart tool to be embracing as an agent. The biggest talk in our industry right now is always what? Rates and AI. Now, don't get me wrong, we embrace AI. We need I know you do, Conrad, with your videos.
Yeah.
You know, I was surprised you're not in an orange suit today. With a top hat. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, if you don't embrace the tools that we have available for us in our industry, you're going to be left behind. You know, I started in this industry when internet was not a thing. And I can't tell you those agents that told me internet won't work back then. I can't tell you where they are these days because they're not in the industry anymore.
Right.
So, question for you in the beginning of this that I want to start out with, that I feel like would have been beneficial for Tiffany is like, how do you begin the auction process, and how do you outweigh agents like Conrad and I in like a traditional sale versus an auction?
Yeah, there's a lot of education. Comes back to education. It comes back to just having a conversation, actually, and just explaining how it's going to work from day one. Now, auctions work everywhere on any type of property, but they won't work if someone hasn't got the open mind to be open to it and explore it and actually give it what it deserves. All right. So, you know, I've met with Conrad many of times before we did this listing, and I've told him several, and I'll continue to tell him because it's always changing. It might be something I miss, or it might be something he picks up on next time. And I'm always going to be telling you guys what's happening, what's new, what's a different tactic we're using, what's a different style. You know, I met Conrad, 6-7 years ago with your parents. And funny story, I was actually cleaning my office that day, and I found the business card from when I met you guys. Love that. You know, I kept your card. Not many people keep cards.
I love that so much.
You're in a stack this high, and I found your one in it. So, but the point I'm trying to make is, like, it's education is telling them how it works. It's a 28-day program. It goes for 4 weeks exactly. There's two open houses a week that go for 1 hour. We don't do them for an hour because we're lazy. We do them for an hour because we're structured and we're strategic. The whole point is to funnel as many people at the same time. I call it the Apple iPhone effect. Right? Mm-hmm. When Apple launches a phone, sorry to all the Android users out there, but when Apple launches a phone, I just moved around the screen then. You see me jump? When Apple launches a phone, what do? They market it for a month, and then they sell it. They build up the hype. They build up the energy. So to your question, Crystal, about, you know, educating traditional agents, it's like, look, what you've done before in the past is not wrong. This is just another route to get you to your destination.
It's not wrong. It's just about strategy and how we implore strategies for buyers and sellers moving forward.
Absolutely.
It's a whole new game now. We have new laws. We have new documents and contracts in place. And so that's why I feel like this is such a valuable live to have, because nobody even thinks about auctions anymore. And we should bring it back.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the most, I might be biased because I'm from Australia. I'm only biased in this way because I am from Australia. I was educated my whole life. This is how you do real estate. 90% of sales where I was raised and born and worked for 15 years before I moved to the United States was done via auction. I made my first $1 million doing auctions, open houses.
So that's the example of, let's bring it here and bring that knowledge here and empower people to do things differently and better.
Would it be fair to say in this current market, it's really challenging to get buyers to get off their ass and get in the car and come out to look at a home? Mm-hmm. They're lazy. Everything's on their phone. They don't want it. They don't need to come look at it. It's so much information online, which is another strategy that we adopt. You know, less photos, less information until they inquire, and then we give them all the information.
But for consumers policy and like guidance, I just want to say right now that I've seen people consult things like AI and come out with horrific results. So it's similar and absolutely aligned with this conversation. You really need to work with proper people and friendly and all of those things.
Crystal, it's no surprise. You know, there's a bunch of real estate agents out there. We won't name them because there's too many to name that aren't good to work with. Right? They're unprofessional. They're same in auctions. There's over 100 auction companies in the United States. And unfortunately, it's the bad ones that give us all a bad rep, just the same as us as real estate agents. It's the ones that do the shady deals and the backhanders and all the illegal stuff, unethical, that ruin it for all of us. So, you know, my choice when I moved to this country was, do I become like everyone else and just become a traditional agent And don't get me wrong, I would have made a lot of money doing it that way. Or do I try and give a tool back to the industry? Do I try and give us something that we can utilize that is beneficial to all parties, not just one, to growth? How do you, it's another tool in your tool belt. That's all it is. Yeah. We are constantly getting more tools thrown at us and try and take them away from us as well. This is a tool you've got.
Absolutely key.
Yeah. And that's what we do. But we partner up with you, Conrad. We partner up with you, Crystal. We don't take any of your branding away. It's your marketing, your signboard out the front. It's your listing on the MLS. It's everything about you. I want to make sure you guys look like rock stars. And in turn, you're going to want to continue to use our services. And guess what? We go on an amazing journey together. It's called success.
Absolutely.
We have done well so far.
Yeah.
Now I feel like the point of this is also, more importantly, educating everybody else about how they could do what we just did. We make such a phenomenal team, but people are so uneducated or shy or hesitant. And I'm very caring of building that confidence. So,
Totally. How do you build confidence? By giving them openly information that normal agents would somewhat withhold until later on.
I absolutely do that, but more so, I deter them with facts, and it's with love and truth. Yeah. I'm honest, material facts matter. I've sold more homes from advising people what to stay away from and what to do better and how to dial it in negotiations than anything else. Absolutely. Yeah. That is a fact. Right. But I'd be really curious to hear about Conrad's input, because he and I worked with you and it was such a great experience. But I want to hear about what was great for him too, because
absolutely
there were things that he saw in that deal that I didn't, that I was so grateful for, and it really benefited the client.
Well, I mean, I guess, my question is, the different types of auction formats out there, because like you said, there's a stigma to it. So, what are the different types of auction formats and all the terms that are thrown out there that people have peppered out, like absolute, reserve, minimum bid, and what does each mean for the seller?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different types, right? It's not just going once, going twice, third and final time sold. It's there's different types. So there is auction by proxy, where you can submit in an envelope, which is what a lot of agents are somewhat familiar with, but they'll call it auction style online. That's actually illegal to do it that way. To call it that when it's not actually an auction, because an auction is when there is public bidding.
It's wild.
Yeah, not submitting your offer. That's an offer by tender is the technical legal term for that. But then there's absolute auction. Now we do absolutes, but I have never done one in the United States because I choose not to. It's an option we have available, and I'm going to tell you why I choose not to do it. It puts the seller in an uncomfortable position where they will be held to whatever the highest bid is, no matter what. So when I'm calling that auction, if they want 10 million and the bidding stops at 5 or 6, guess what? Sold. You don't have a choice as a seller. Now, what does that typically do? It does engage more buyers because they do know it's 100% going to be sold. No questions asked, no games, no testing the market. But you are going to pick up investors. And what do investors typically do? Come in low. They're lowballing you. You're going to pick up wholesalers. You're going to pick up all the bottom feeders. All right. Now, also with an absolute auction, you're looking at a buyer premium, and I'm going to get into that as well with you, Conrad, and that's another question you're probably going to have for me. A buyer premium of anywhere between 5 and 15% to a buyer. Now, that's astronomically high, and that's definitely what they charge on distressed properties. I see there's a question in the comments about, do you only do distressed auctions? We don't actually do any distressed auctions. We are only doing non-distressed. So that's where the connotation is with auction. People think, oh, you're only doing. I get a call all the time. Hey, can you ring me when you get deals? They ring me when you got these deals. And I'm like, I'm not going to call you. And they said, well, why don't you want to call me? I said, because I won't have a deal to call you about. I'm not selling for a deal. The deal is I'll help you buy it. That's the deal. My job is to get the seller the most money out of the market that day of the auction or at that time. So that's an absolute auction. We do what is called an actual live auction. When it's over a certain amount of money, over $1 million, we call it a luxury live auction. Although it seems everything in Orange County now starts with a live auction now. There's nothing under $1 million. But that being said, we start with a 28-day program. There's only a 2% buyer premium only. And the buyer is going to pay that. It's all disclosed. And the seller, before I can say sold, he has to give me the approval. So no matter what, again, same scenario, $10 million seller wants, we could get to 12. The seller technically could still say no. Now, mind you, I'd probably hit him in the head with this if they tried to do that, but that's not going to happen. We're going to take the money, we're going to get them a profit, and they're going to be happy. On average, we start lower. We start around 20 to 30% below what we're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
And on average, we're achieving 26 to 30% above. So if we're making our clients more money than they would have ordinarily thought they were going to get at the start. Now, obviously, some people say, well, how much did you get above the seller's expectations? A good question. It's a bit of a riddle in that, because sellers' expectations aren't typically genuinely appreciative to the market values.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
correct.
Conrad, I would love to hear. I've learned so much in this 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, answered probably most of my prepared questions on my notes here. Conrad, take 10 seconds to ask him what he didn't answer, because I'm looking right now. I'm thinking about other things, but
he just mentioned the seller's expectations, because what's the seller's expectation? Are they trying to hit a money, or are they trying to move out? What's their motivation on there? Right. And so that's in all honesty, in real estate, it's a lot hard when seller's expectations this and the market's values this.
Yes. So
that's a lot. Very difficult to work. I mean, whether it's an auction or a traditional listing, either way, it's
the greatest thing about what we do, Conrad, this is price education. This is price discovery. What we're doing, it's a lot of pressure on us as agents, as realtors. Mm-hmm. How do you know what it's going to sell for? If you hand on heart, you know exactly what it's going to sell for. No one does.
Right now, I'm going through it, and what I can say is I will redefine value to the public. It is what someone is willing to pay.
Correct. So think about this. You got a pen.
And that's genuinely what's important. It's not just about one thing or another or the cumulative effect. The truth is the willingness of the consumer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if I'm trying to sell you this pen, I'm not trying to be Wolf of Wall Street on you, but I'm trying to sell you this pen. It's a pretty good movie, very good reality too. But you want this pen. There's two of you on the call right now, but I've only got one pen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's probably worth $1. But if I told you guys, hey, I'm going to sell you this pen, I'm going to start the bidding at 20 cents, you're immediately thinking I'm going to get it for cheaper than $1.
Right.
But then you also know you've got more money in your wallet than $1.
It's such mindset.
And then Conrad, I'm going to pick on you because you're a male. No offense, Crystal, in this respect.
That's okay.
You have this thing as a male, and it's called an ego, and it really hurts when you don't get what you want, right?
Yeah, so losing's tough.
We have to find ways that we can show people the value of what they're bidding on. And that's me as an auctioneer. So I'll be able to, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're calling for 20 cents on this auction right now. 20 cents is the bid. I got 40, 50, 60, 80, 90. And I say $1, got $1 now, $10, $20, $30, $40. $40. Before you know we're $1.40, it's only worth $1. But guess what? It's not only worth $1. It's now worth what someone paid for it. That's true. That's true market value.
That's why I brought it up, because I used to confuse what people would value it as themselves versus what someone would pay for. And that really does come down to...
Oh, it comes down to Crystal dropping out.
She got disconnected somehow.
Got a little bit too much fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, her device disconnected.
All right. Okay, guys should pop back in, I'm sure. But that's what we do, Conrad. It's just about showing another tool. It's about being different. It's about what can we do to show you more skills? What can we do to show you how to get to your destination another way? With no pressure, with no stress, with no BS, basically. You know what we do before Conrad, but I'll tell the people out there, before we even go live on the MLS, we do home inspection, termite report, seller's disclosures, NHD, prelim, HOACC&Rs, any permits that have been pulled, any and all material facts are procured ahead of time. We get them in a much prettier binder than what I've got right here. This is one coming up. We get a binder, we put it together, we get that together in a digital program, we get QR codes, we make you a pack, we make your flyers for you. We'll be at the open house for you. I'm going to put a representative from my team that's going to assist you at every open house, help you with callbacks and follow-ups and whatever you may need help with. And that way, then we have a solid team, which means nothing falls through the cracks. You've got the strength. A lot of agents I'm working with right now are upset because they can't afford a team. I tell them, you've already got one.
Yep.
You've already got a team.
Exactly.
So this is what we do. We love doing it. We don't take any of your commissions away from you as an agent unless you want to partake and sort of make it more advantageous for the client by bringing it down and contributing. You can. Sometimes we have sellers contributing towards it to make it more easier. We are seeing more sellers open to that in this current market as we are in a buyer's market again.
Mm-hmm.
So we are seeing some sellers that want to make it easier for a buyer. Instead of doing a buy down rate on the interest rates, maybe they'll do a buy down on the auction premium, buyer premium.
Right.
But it's about being creative and just having an open mind to different ways to do it. If you're open-minded and you're open, look, when AI came out, everyone was like, whoa, Terminator, I can't do this. Terminator's going to come kill us, which is actually 3 years away from today. I saw an article. But the point is, someone took the risk. And then what happened? They told someone about their success. And then the success started to generate more interest. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, ooh, what's this new shiny object? And it was AI. Same with auctions. When I moved here 10 years ago, it was a 5% awareness in the marketplace about what we did. I want to say now confidently, it's at least 30 to 35% of the marketplace now understands 10 years later. In 10 more years, it'll be 80% awareness. No doubt. There's a question that's on the side. What is a buyer premium? Buyer premium.
Let's get into the comments, towards the end. On there. So
no worries. I'll get into that later. But yeah, I mean, anything we do is just different. It doesn't take away from the standard documents that you already do as an agent. We don't touch your commissions. Like I said, we're charging a buyer premium straight to the buyer. It's a 2% fee that the buyer pays at the close of escrow. Some buyers will incorporate that into their offerings to get financing on as well, which is another a creative tool, if you will. We've had no problems with escrow or with lenders getting their clients ready to go forward and transact that way. It's just another option, and it gives you as an agent clarity, and it gives you as a seller control, which is something a lot of sellers have lost over the last decade.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Everyone thinks the kitchen's the best kitchen, the best house, the best everything until they hear the feedback. And then look, there's a reason why people sell their homes. It's normally the feedback we get that is the reason why they're selling their homes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was very good. Getting the feedback with the 100 people coming through and you sharing with the client, like, this is what the market's telling you. This is what we're going with. So that was wonderful.
How much easier is that for you, Conrad, as an agent, rather than having a price reduction conversation?
A lot easier because we're saying this person's saying this, this neighbor's saying 1.2, this investor saying 800, this person's saying 900, this is saying 1.1. It's just like the full range of things.
You get the four bands. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Investors are low, neighbors are high, and then you got the two in the middle. The two in the middle are generally the people that can't afford it but like your home. They'll tell you pretty much a little bit above what it's worth. And then people that do like it will tell you a little bit under what it's worth because they don't want to show their cards. And when you get that, like we had over 100 people through that listing in a shit market that no one could get people out to homes at.
Yeah.
All right. That's the point I really want to hit on. That was the biggest part of the success, I believe. We attracted people when no one was getting any activity on any listings. It was dead. Over 100 people give you feedback. It's not a coincidence when they all start saying the same thing.
100%. And that specific property was a fixer and needed some work to it. And it was, a little bit challenging. I think if it was a traditional, I think it would have been more challenging because now you have to play this, negotiate. And then, if the buyer walks away, then, you're waiting for a longer period of time. So we got it done we got an escrow within, I think 30 days, in through the process. And so
We closed in 15.
yeah, and that was
Closed in 15. Got her
15.
money. She was able to rent it back. Right? Remember,
Yep.
she had 29-day rent back at no cost.
Yeah, that was great.
And we helped the client got what she wanted. The buyer got what he wanted. Everyone was happy. And look, and honestly, at the time, we may have thought it was a bit lower than what we wanted to achieve. I look back now, and that was a good price. It's a very good price.
Yeah.
When you start considering all the factors we were dealing with.
Agree. 100% agree with you on that. There was a lot.
How many people tell you, Conrad, it's the worst time to sell in December?
Yeah.
It's the worst time to sell in October. Once it's Labor Day, it's all over. No, that's when agents are lazy. That's when lazy agents start taking the rest of the year off, and they make excuses as to why they can't work.
Yeah.
You just added to my continuous rebuttal to people. It's like I make more deals in the months when agents don't work than I do when agents do. Agents don't work in general, but you know what I'm saying. But I'm saying, at that time, when people are thinking that mindset, that's when I'm like, oh, I double down. So it was a great tour. And again, the circumstances, I originally met you at that property in June. I went through my notes. We met in June, and I remember you telling me there was a court case because it was an issue with the trust details, and you had to get that sorted out. And the only reason why I remember it because the court case was on my birthday. It was on the 2nd of September, and I remember you rang me on the 3rd of September and said, "It's all done. We're good to go. We can move forward." And I was like, "But we had planned. This was all methodically put out. We structured it. It was challenging because funds were not available from a seller. The house was not in the best condition. We had to not myself. I can't take the credit for this. Crystal and yourself did a lot of work cleaning up and doing all the garage sales and doing everything. And that's part of the work that no one sees that what we do.
Yeah, there was a lot of, pre-market stuff that we had to get the place ready ourselves. And, it was, a lot of it was, there was limited funds, but also, the very first open house, I opened the door, I was in a t-shirt and shorts. And I was like, oh, I gotta get my suit on because we were moving things around and sweeping up and just kind of getting things ready. And it was right at that point. Great. Okay, so
Crystal's watching.
Yeah, she's watching. Yeah. So okay, so let me see here. We talked about, I think we asked this question, the timeline of the auction.
Yeah, so average days on market right now traditionally is around 90 days on average in Orange County right now. You're looking at 90 days. We run a 28-day program. So it's just an accelerated version, basically what we're doing. We're trying to attract maximum exposure in a short amount of time and funnel everyone together, see the competition. So the timeline is 28 days generically. Look, there are some specific properties we need to do a 5 or a 6 week on, and some properties we only need to do 2 weeks. It just depends on the property, but generically 28 days, 1 month, in, out, 6 hours of showing your home in total. You can get your home sold in 6 hours of showing your home.
Yeah, and then the timeline to get it ready before day one.
Well, not everyone is as organized as what we were on this particular campaign. Often I get the call, "Hey, we needed it listed last week. Can you help us quickly?" Now, there are certain things that I'm very strict on, and the strict thing is that we can't go live on the MLS until we have all the due diligence done. Otherwise, the listing agent could get a citation from the MLS, and we don't want any negative attachment to the listing. So it does take about 5 to 10 days to get prepared, to do your home inspection, fill out your disclosures, get your photography done, get your flyers printed, get your marketing ready for online, make all your content, get everything ready. Don't be one of those agents that does it after you've already got a listing. Tell them about the coming soon. Tell them that you got something happening. Talk constantly about what you're doing and tell people the story of the journey while you're doing it. Then that way everyone knows. No one complains about a 1 hour open house when they already know about it for a month.
Yeah.
The ones that complain are the ones that are driving around. They see an arrow board. Oh, we didn't know. We're only in the area. Or, oh, we're not even from the area. We weren't we're looking at one up the road and blah, blah, blah. They're not the real buyers. The people who are looking at actively online right now as we speak, even looking at times, they're planning out their day. If they're not planning it out, their agent's planning it out for them. So that's where we just, by having that structure there, Conrad, I mean, you saw it, there's no by appointments. There's no, when we started doing a few by appointments at the end there, how much of your time was lost being at that property every day?
Yeah, it was, that was kind of difficult, because you're kind of stopping and going, the momentum kind of drops.
And the biggest problem is they didn't see their competition because it was one at a time.
Correct.
And that takes away from the urgency. So like we were putting that pressure on those people. Hey, we got an auction this weekend. If you don't do something, you're going to miss out. It's going to go to somebody else. And that's what ultimately, that's how we sold that property, is by getting someone to put something down prior to, solid. They removed all the contingencies. It was clean, gave every requirement that the seller was looking for, and we were able to put the deal together. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like Crystal's recharging her phone, I believe.
Yeah, she was having some difficulties.
No worries. Happy to keep answering your questions. No problems.
Yeah. Not a problem. Okay, so what type of seller or property is generally a good fit for auction versus a traditional listing?
So everyone's a good candidate. The best candidates, though, I will say, the best candidates are, and I'm not trying to be rude, I've been through one myself, divorce. Divorce candidates, probate sales, trustee sales, beneficiaries, anything where there's two parties or more arguing over a price.
Yeah.
This is the tool that will stop all, and that Tony's won't like me for saying this, it'll stop all legal action moving forward. Obviously, attorneys get paid when they get jobs, right? I'm here, I'm not trying to put lawyers out of business, but I'm being honest with you. No one likes to go down the law path. We don't want to do that. We want to avoid it. We want to have a clean process. So this is for a divorce. Think about it. I'll tell you a quick scenario. It definitely wasn't my scenario, just for the record. Generic, a little bit biased towards what we hear out in the streets. Husband and wife's been a homemaker, not her fault. She's been a beautiful mother. She's raised 3 kids, whatever it may be, in the house. She hasn't had to work because the husband's been the breadwinner. Well, guess what? The husband got a little bit excited somewhere else where he shouldn't have, and he got in trouble, got caught. He's left now. They're divorcing. He's moved on with his young girlfriend. He just bought a little condo in Newport Peninsula. He's living his best life. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He just wants his money out of that house and move on with his life. Wife, like I said, was a homemaker. She can't afford to buy that house, unfortunately. She might get some money from the divorce, but it's not going to give her enough to buy that house unless she had other money or family money or whatever. So what happens then? The two sellers, the wife was going to put a high price on that property because the higher the price, the longer it takes to sell, which means the longer she can stay in the property. Now, this could be the other way around. It could be husband and wife, other way around, just for the record. And the husband, he's already moved on. He's already got his new little young girlfriend, and he's got his Ferrari, he's got his condo in the peninsula, and he's living his best life. But as a 20-year-old again, and he doesn't care what it sells for. He just wants his money. Now, in a traditional sense, that's going to end up in a long lawsuit.
Right.
As an auction, it sells for fair market value. When I say sold, that's what the market offered for that property, not what the seller wanted, not what the seller had to have, not what she wanted versus he wanted. What if they sold it for less and then that wife ends up suing the husband later? You undersold the property and took away what I potentially could have made. Or the market turns and it drops drastically and the husband's like, because of your efforts of listing it high, we've now lost out hundreds of thousands of dollars because of your selfishness, whatever it may be. Correct. So this is a great tool. Same with beneficiaries. When you've got 3, 4, 5 to 12 beneficiaries in line, and of course, they all come out of the woodwork when they get their chance and they sniff money. They all want money. And there's always one person who's a beneficiary who lives in the house who doesn't want to move out.
Yeah. That's correct.
They will promise, but there's nothing in writing.
Yeah.
So this is another tool again. It just helps get clarity. It's honest price discovery. It's fair market value. We're not underselling. This is not a fire sale. We are getting them. Our company is called RECA, a little pun, a fun joke. We call ourselves the wrecker makers and the wrecker breakers. Right? And it goes a little something like this. But the point I'm trying to make is we're just trying to be fair, and we're trying to show all the clients out there that, look, you're going through a hard time. Don't make it harder for yourselves. Let us take the heavy lifting off your shoulders. You focus on what's most important, your kids, your scenario, your work, whatever is important to you, your health, and we'll handle the sale with the efforts of the listing agent like yourself, Conrad, and together, there's just no stopping us. We will help everybody.
Great.
That's it.
Okay.
Your clients are those ones, definitely.
Absolutely. So what happens if the property doesn't sell?
Yeah. I mean, so there's always 3 options with us. All right. So there's always accept, reject, or negotiate. So let's just say hypothetical price of $1 million, bidding stops at 900. I'm going to make it look like I'm going to say sold 1,000 times. That's my job. But ladies and gentlemen, at $900,000, I'll call it out 3 times, give everyone a fair chance. First call, second call, third and final time, finish quiet, done, 900,000. I'll stop. Conrad, can I please have instructions from the seller? What would you like to do? Or he'd like to do? We'll go back. I'll probably come back there with you. We'll talk to the seller. Look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you were hoping for that $1 million price point. We're currently at a 900. We've got 3 registered bidders out there. We might be able to squeeze another, little bit out of them, maybe 5, 10 grand. If we can do that, do we have your permission to sell? They say no. No, okay, not a problem. Look, I'm going to go back and try for more. Let's continue this conversation. Go back out. We get them 10 more grand. They say no. Well, look, this is where we're at. Mr. Seller, what do you want to do? We can go back on for a brand new auction campaign, start all over again, do another 4 weeks. That's one option. Option 2, you go back to your traditional method and you put a price on it. Nothing wrong with that either. Or option 3, you hold the property and or rent it. What would you like to do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? So it's always their choice, right? Now, here's the thing, and it's not to put pressure on them to make them do something they're not comfortable with. You've got to put pressure on people to make decisions. And in an auction, it's instant, all right? So I'm going to ask them that question, but I'm going to say, you got 30 seconds to answer me.
Yeah.
The same way I'm going to put 30 seconds on that buyer. Now, if we were in a traditional method, Conrad, and let's just say you got an offer, what happens? You got to get the offer, you got to print it off, you got to qualify it, you got to then go to the seller's house or go on the phone on Zoom, you got to meet with them, you got to go through it all, and then you got to go back to them with a counter or other terms. Then you got to wait another 72 hours for a response. I just did what takes sometimes up to a week in less than a couple of minutes.
Exactly.
So that's what ultimately this does timeline-wise. It's a smarter, more efficient. It's like the hybrid version of real estate. Nothing is wrong with the traditional method. I am not here to put it down. I've got 2 traditional listings active right now. All right. And the reason why they're not auctioned, just for the record, the sellers are not on board with it. Now, if the sellers aren't on board with it, then I'm not going to try and convince them and push them, because it's going to be an uphill battle the whole time. They're going to be skeptical from day one. I need positive, good mentalities. Where if you come in with an open mind, we're going to do something well. If you come in with a resistance and the manifestation of negativity, it's not going to work. So, but I did tell them all in a traditional sense. It's actually something we spoke about as well, Conrad, in the past, is if they look like they're not 100% actively ready for auction, that's okay. Here's a little script for you. So, Conrad, you're the agent in this, you're the seller in this respect. I'm going to say, look, Mr. Seller, it doesn't look to me like auction is the best tool for you right now. But don't worry, because Crystal's a phenomenal agent, and she's one of those people that's always got a route for you to go down. She's always got strategies and tactics for you. So here's what she's going to do. She's going to list your home traditionally for 3 to 4 weeks, and if she doesn't get what you're looking for, we're going to then activate Plan B. I'm Plan B. So what have you done? You've set the expectation of the seller to know that you have a plan of action, a contingency plan, so to speak. Should hit the fan, all right? Or you don't have the number you're looking for. So it's just about educating on it. Now we'll come with you on those listing presentations every day, ending in Y. I want to be there with you. What does that make you do? Makes you look like the rock star. You're bringing in the heavies from all around. You've got a solid team. So we'll go with the listing appointment. We'll help you with the showing. Even if we don't get the listing, I'm still happy to help you, man. Like we have a relationship. We're friends. Right? I want to see my friends grow. I want to see all of us strive in this industry. So there's no ego with me. It's just about helping people out. And at the end of the day, God bless, will look over us, and we will get what we deserve.
Yeah, and as we discussed before we started the live, it was, it's an option, because I want all of my clients to get the best options for their situation. Could it be auction? It could be this other way. Could it be,
Cash offer.
Renovate to sell, cash offer, investor. These are just different options on there that I don't think, for one, I don't think a lot of agents really know how to do auctions or just too scared or whatever. And I'm not afraid of it, just as far as presenting different options on there, because what's the best to the client? Is it auction? Is it traditional? I don't know what the case is.
It's scary for a lot of people. It's scary. And I'm going to say this, and it's not to put your parents down. Yeah. Different demographic, right? They're a bit more, they're way more traditional minded. And I respect it. Your parents are beautiful people and I love them. They're great. Like I said, not to put them down. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
Because maybe they've been, and I'm not saying your parents have been through this, but they maybe seen it. Some people have lost their homes to foreclosures in auctions. In the last crash that the US had, there was a lot of REO sales that went to auction and people lost everything. I respect that. I appreciate that. That's probably a very high pain point. Now
it is.
So that's where you are going to see more traditional, older-fashioned agents not adopt this as much. But it's funny, when one of them does, they have the best experience I've ever experienced. They love it. But it's getting them across that line.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with years of friendship, trust building, relationships, just showing and owning the business. I think I said to you and your family when I first met you, let me own your business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you what I can do with one. Don't give me 10. I don't want 10. I want one. Show me with one. We'll do it. And I've been saying, until we did that one in Anaheim, I kept saying, Conrad, we're going to have that listing and we're going to have success. And we got it. And it did.
Absolutely.
So I'm very happy with the way our relationship's gone. It's proof in the pudding that nothing happens overnight. This is a 7-8 year relationship that's continuing. And we will hopefully for a lot longer, forever. Yeah. So for me, I just want to keep working with great people like yourselves. Continue to help other families that are looking for assistance and guidance. We don't charge for a market update. We don't charge to give a proposal. We don't charge to give advice. We're here to help. I just think a lot of people are really concerned because there are a lot of people that do unethical practices, and it has ruined our industry.
Yeah, and it's not just auctions; it's everywhere. It's real estate, and there's a lot of different ways out there. And Crystal and I are big on ethics. I think before we met and decided to work together, she and I had the shared value of what's best ethical for the client, for the buyer, for the seller. And Crystal and I work with a lot of buyers in Orange County and San Diego, and we hear a lot of confusion about buying at an auction involves. So let's talk about the buy side now.
Yeah.
What does a buyer need to have in place before they even bid? A pre-approval deposit, anything?
Yeah. So good question. So same documentation, RPA. You are going to have attached with the RPA our terms and conditions. So we do make terms and conditions that we have readily available at every open house and online and through the MLS. So there's no reason for them not to have access to it. The buyer is going to then get their lending in place. We're going to ask them if they need help with it, if they need to make sure they're understanding they're not just a pre-approval. You want to get direct DU underwriting, DU approval. When you've got DU approval, you don't need a finance or a loan contingency or an appraisal contingency, because you've already been approved. Actually, you may need an appraisal depending on who you're loaning with, right? But definitely don't need a loan contingency. You're then going to want to speak to your agent. If you haven't got an agent, we'd obviously help you out, putting you in touch with the listing agent we're working with, being Conrad and Crystal. And then we would talk to you about the process. Now, you can make an offer before if you want to stop the auction, right? The buy it now button that everyone loves on Amazon.
Yep.
The buy it now button. We want to buy it right now. Well, then put your best foot forward. Make it something enticing to stop the auction. Verbiage we say to a lot of our buyers is, hey, Conrad, you came through the property in Anaheim Hills on the weekend at East Cali Durango. I'm sorry I wasn't able to talk to you. There's so many people. I know you're interested. What number are you thinking to stop this from taking out your competition? right? And that's me putting pressure on you to tell me your number. Now, some buyers won't answer that. They'll play games. Some agents will. Some buyers will tell you the truth. They'll tell you straight out. So it just depends on your relationship with the buyer, but definitely it's not a lot of challenging work. All the due diligence is done ahead of the time. So we're going to share that with the buyer. They're going to see the home inspection, the termite report, the disclosures, the NHD, the prelim, any HOA CC&Rs, anything they need to look at, plans and approvals as well, permits. That's going to put them in a position of comfort and confidence. And then with their agent or with us representing them, we can write that offer and stop the auction. Now, if they want to register for the auction and actually bid, I don't have a paddle in front of me, it's in the other room. But if you want to have a paddle to raise on the day to play the game, you do have to pay to play. Now, it's a refundable pay to play, right? If you got to put down, on average, it's around 3% or up to $100,000 of the bidding to start from amount. So if it's it's $1 million bidding to start from amount, you're going to have a $30,000 check invoice that you're going to have to pay to escrow. You're going to wire over to escrow. It's a 100% refundable amount that if you're not successful on the day, escrow will fund it back to you within 24 to 48 hours, depending on who you bank with. Mm-hmm. And then if you are successful, that money will go directly towards your earnest money deposit. So that means as soon as I say sold, as a buyer, you are absolutely protected. You're already in escrow.
Yep.
As a seller, you're already protected because you're already in escrow. Money is held. You have to chase money. So it's a protection clause for both parties, but the buyer does need to fill out registration forms, terms and conditions, and wire over the initial bidding deposit, which is generally 3% of our bidding to start from amount. That's it. And then if they can't make it on the day, for whatever reason, on our registration form, there's multiple options to choose from. I'll be present personally. I'll have someone representing me. I would like the auction company to represent me. I'd like to be on the phone. I'd like to submit it via a proxy. However you like, we can make it happen. Unless I'm, in the darkest, no internet connection, otherwise known as Irvine or Laguna Niguel, and you've got no cell service, there's no reason for you not to be able to partake in the auction anywhere in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just get an agent to represent you at the auction.
Well, yeah, but we do have at times some overseas bidders, from all around. Not just out of Asia, where a lot of people think they only come out of Asia. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming from out of the Middle East. They're coming from Europe. They're coming from the South Pacific. They're coming from South America. They're coming from everywhere. But we want to give them that chance. I had someone the other day. They're in China and they can't get a flight out here for another month. They've got to tie up some other things still before they can get out here. They can't make it to what the proceeds are. So we're going to have them on a Zoom, FaceTime live feed. They're going to be on FaceTime with one of our reps, and that's how they'll be able to partake in the auction.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And from your experience, has it been mostly cash buyers at auctions, or the loan process?
The connotation everyone thinks is that everything we do is for cash. Majority of our sales are actually financed. Large chunk. We're selling to everyday families. This is just another method to acquire a property. The other auctions that most people are familiar with, now they're cash only. They're sight unseen. There's buyer beware. There is a lot of risk. And now with risk can come reward, don't get me wrong. And that's why those other auction companies can charge higher premiums. Because if someone's paying 30% under market, they're okay to pay a 10% premium. They're still making money, right? We're not selling under market. We're selling for a new market level. Mm-hmm. That's what we're there to do. So we're here to really perform and get that top tier result for our seller, and in turn, that just gets us, the overwhelming response from not only the marketplace but from our sellers telling everybody, and that's what gets our name out and it gets people wanting to work with us.
Great. So what's the biggest mistakes you've seen buyers make at auctions?
Listening to people who aren't real estate agents.
Amen.
My biggest, actually, I saw a really funny meme yesterday of a guy in his car. He's driving along and he's like, how to ruin a perfectly good day. And he gets a call from a buyer saying, we've decided we're going to cancel the closing today because I spoke to my cousin's friend who's never worked in real estate and actually works as a veterinarian. And she knows everything about real estate. She told me now's not a good time to buy.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm like, yep, how about that call? But yeah, I mean, it's honestly what I don't like. There's always a heckler. There's always someone who wants to be a bit of a smarty at the auction. I'll dance with you. I'll dance with you a little bit there. I'll have some fun back. You want to poke fun at me? I'll poke fun back. Life's too short not to take everything too seriously. I've only ever had to eject one person in 25 years, so it doesn't happen very often. But most people are pretty good as long as, like I said, communication is happening. We're communicating. We know who's going to be bidding. We know what they're going to be buying up to. We know what they've got to spend. We know everything about them. So that's when, during the auction, we're just going to be talking to them now. They will adopt different strategies, and this is where I try to educate them on this the most. It's like, look, don't be like that person that waits for everyone to bid and waits right for the very last microsecond before you make that bid. You might lose it. Put your best foot forward. Be strong. Be confident. Raise your hand. Partake. I will listen to you. I will work with you as an auctioneer. The buyer I hate the most at the auction is if we're starting at like $500,000, for example, and they come in with a ridiculously higher offer off the bat of like 900, almost double. And that just takes out every bidder.
Right.
Lost all momentum. Again, that's probably only happened maybe a handful of times in my entire career. Doesn't happen very often. But when that's happened, it's like, wow, there goes the auction. It's nice to let people play. At the time, people will be annoyed with me because they didn't win. They've got to be annoyed at somebody. I totally respect that. But guess what? I do get a lot of people at auctions coming to me after that weren't successful to say, hey, thanks for letting us have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So during COVID, Conrad, I'm sure you remember this, homes were selling in half a day.
Yep.
Multiple offers. All right. What were we doing? Escalation clauses. All right.
Pretty much an auction.
We're doing auctions without doing an auction. Right?
Exactly.
Now, I got so many calls from so many people that missed out on a property for as much as $500. And they just didn't know where to go, and they didn't know where the other party was at.
Right.
But that's what auctions does. It puts everyone in an open forum. You see your competition. The only way you're going to get that paddle to raise up on the day is if you put money down. So you're playing against real people, not an agent telling you they got offers when they don't. We all know who those agents are.
Yeah.
It just removes all of the shadiness. This is honest, transparent, and fair.
Absolutely. Getting back to, because your process, you do the due diligence up front, inspections up front, termite up front, all that other stuff, CC&Rs up front. So to talk about like inspection contingencies from the buyer point of view, are they common at an auction, or are they typically as is? And
as is. We are. So the rule in California, particularly because that's what we're operating out of, is since 1996, to be able to sell your property as is legally, you need to furnish any or all interested parties with a home inspection report, termite report, and all of your seller's disclosures filled out. That is the law. Do people follow it? Absolutely not. But it's the law, and they are catching a lot of them, but there's still a lot of them out there, right? Now, we will give you an opportunity as a buyer to come in and do your own inspection, but I recommend you do that before you submit your offer.
Right.
Your offer is final. So what we would say to someone is, hey, look, we've got an auction. It's scheduled for, 21st of March, 2 days from now. All right. Hey, why don't we get your inspector in tomorrow before the auction?
Mm-hmm.
That way, then you on auction day know exactly what is wrong and right with the home, and you can compare it against the report we've given you. Now, some agents will say they're trying to protect their client and that they won't do that, and they'll only do an inspection report after they're in escrow. I'm sorry. I'm blunt. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Actually, not the worst thing. It's up there. It's just laziness. That's just you not doing your job.
Exactly.
Our seller's already paid and furnished you with a full report from a credible, licensed, bonded, insured company. If you want to do your own, we'll allow you access, but we're not going to give you a contingency for it. Same with financing, like we touched on before. We want to get direct underwriting. I can say this, Conrad, in 25 years, I'm touching wood, I'm rubbing wood on this one. In 25 years, I've never had a property not appraised. Why? I'm not a magician. I don't have a secret potion. I don't liquor them up and give them bribes. It's because fair market value was achieved.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why they always appraise. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some really out of line sales. But guess what? What do I tell the appraiser? I'm telling you right now, if you don't appraise it at this number, you're going to be back here next week with a new buyer at the same price. I had 12 people out here that were bidding at the same price. I can show you the video. I have evidence to show market value is at this level.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's a big thing. Your question on contingencies, we generally do not allow any contingencies. It's a done deal, sold, no contingencies. You've had your due diligence period already to go over things. Having said that, if a seller wants to accept the contingency, that's on them. We advise not to unless it is something that we really realize is a very crucial part of the transaction we need to adjust on. Otherwise, that normally only happens when it's a pre-auction offer. I've never had it happen on an actual auction day sale where someone has terms of a contingency after. And think about why though, Conrad. There's a reason why we don't. It's not, again, because we're trying to strong arm people or put them into a deal and then they lock them in so they can't pull out and scare them. We want to lock them in because they've already done the hard work. And we want to make sure that they are protected, right? We're giving you the work up front that you don't have to worry about. The agent, if they don't want to share it with you, that's just because they're lazy. Contact us. We'll get it to you. All right? I'm not here to bash agents. I'm just here to bash people who don't do the job correctly.
I agree.
Right? I love agents. I'm one of them. I don't like people that think they're agents and tell people they're agents when they don't even do an agent's duties. So that's where I get angry and wound up. But your parents, they spent their whole life building a credible business up for themselves. All right. All it takes is one little guy or your little girl, or either, to make a stupid comment who might be working for them. It ruins all their credibility. Going out the window. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And getting back to the due diligence section, what you offered also is that I remember the conversation that we had with people is, did you see the report? Did you see the termite? Did you see the inspection report? Did you see the disclosures? And what's the answer, Simon, whenever you ask those questions?
So I'm asking them those questions multiple times. But I'm asking a seller at the start, a buyer at the start. So when a buyer rings me and they say, "Hey, we've seen your property's on the market, $888,888. Can you tell me a little bit more about the property?" Yeah, I can. Better yet, I'm going to send you a link with everything about it. All right. I highly recommend you look at that. We have our first open house on the weekend, on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was, and we're going to be here from 11 to 12. Come along, have a look at those docs before. Don't write an offer before, because you're going to put yourself in a position where you might actually be offering more than what you're prepared to spend after you review the documents.
Exactly.
So when an agent calls me and his agent's like, "Well, just tell me what the seller wants." The seller wants the most out of the market that the market will bear. My question to you, Mr. Agent or Mrs. Agent, is: have you had a chance to review the documents of disclosures for your clients yet? Because everything about the property is so involved in that document that if you miss that, you might miss a crucial part about your transaction, and that could lose you the deal or your money. So I tell people all the time, read over the documents, read over the reports and disclosures. It's already paid for. It's free to access it. Right? The only thing it costs you is your time, and if you don't value your time because you're already wasting time, then you have a great time reading it. Like it's just we try to make it as easy as possible. Honestly, I get frustrated, and I sometimes sound a lot more blunt than I mean to be. It's just because I'm like, I can't make it any simpler. It's like we've got the reports. Here's the folder. Read it, and then let's have a conversation. Write an offer, and you're in escrow. It's not a hard process. I don't know why people make it so difficult.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of times you on your end see exactly who's looking at these reports. And so
Oh, yeah.
and so the agents that came in, I said, just for your E&O sake and for your protection and liability of your, business, you should read them, and make sure your clients read them too, because then if something, God forbid, we get into, a lawsuit of some kind, did you see the disclosures? And you have the proof of yes or no, because on your link that you give to them, you actually can see who's opening up, how many times, what time, and so I mean,
this is what we've embraced technology. We've embraced the technology, right? To leverage off that technology, we can trace and not trace because that's a bit sneaky. We can monitor and watch over how many views we've had of the reports, who's looked at it, which actual documents. All right, did they look at the home inspection only? Did they look at the termite report only? If they're, excuse me, if I'm ringing a seller, a buyer's agent, a selling agent, and I say, hey, have you had a look at the client's the documents that we've sent you? And they say, oh yeah, I've looked at all that, and I look at their file and I see nothing.
Yeah,
and then they write me an offer with every contingency. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be as nice to that agent as I'm going to be to someone who actually took the time, was respectful, and actually took pride in their work. That's a lazy agent. Like, I'll help them. I'm not going to be rude and say I'm not going to help you again, because obviously they need help. They probably need help the most. But there's just a lot of attitude. There's a lot of ego, and I get it. I'm not from here. I'm different, and I've also got a different tool. So I'm the unicorn in the crowd that's waving a new shiny object around, and some people will gravitate towards it. Some people won't. But I promise you, I'm not the first person to do this, and I won't be the last. Elon Musk was called crazy for many, many years. He's now the wealthiest man in the world.
Right.
Yeah, he's still a little bit crazy in my opinion, but I think everyone's a little bit crazy. So I mean, I'm not normal. I don't know that.
Absolutely.
Normal is boring.
yeah, exactly. So okay, so
we go back with a price, or we can. There is no reserve. I'm looking at your question that you're going to ask me. There is no reserve. The reason for not having a reserve, no one knows what a reserve is. A reserve is your bottom line number, basically. You're selling your house, Conrad. You wanted $1 million. Your reserve number is 980, because you're realistic about the market, and you realize it come down a little bit, so you're at 980. You need to be your reserve. The rules are in California. If I have that reserve, or you tell it to me at any point, technically, legally, the listing agent has to advertise that on the MLS. Well, guess what that is? That's just a traditional sale price.
Yeah, exactly.
So it defeats the whole purpose. So we found a creative way with our attorneys to not only put in a clause that says the seller has the final right to accept, reject, or negotiate, but it does state in there the seller is selling the property with no reserve, but they have that right. So they are absolutely protected from start to finish, no matter what. We're not here to make them do something they don't want to do. Will you get low offers? Absolutely. I would offer low too. You know why? Because I want to get the best deal. Everyone starts somewhere. I don't know if you, Conrad, have been on eBay before. I was a serial offender. I got blocked for a while because I had a bit of an addiction issue with it.
Yeah, same here.
I don't want anything for $1. Nothing sells for $1. I think one guy got lucky way back when it first came out, and his ex-wife got angry and sold his Lamborghini for $1. And everyone thought from that moment they were going to find a Lamborghini for $1 on eBay. It doesn't happen, right? One person got it. May not even been real. Who knows? But the point is the same thing. We are trying to remove the price so the market can tell us what the true value is. We put that in front of a seller, and together we got the deal.
Absolutely. So, so this is a topic that I deal a lot with as a certified probate and trust specialist. When a loved one passes away, or a trust needs to liquidate real estate, families are often under time pressure and emotional stress. So sometimes the auction is, the right answer. Yeah. Let's talk through that.
Yeah,
the dynamics of.
I have a lot of compassion for this realm, because I've lived it, I've been through it, and I've seen it multiple times. And every family, beautiful families, money ruins families. We've all seen it, right? It's a tough time, but whether it be a divorce, a probate, anything, it's the same scenario. There's heartache, there's anger, there's frustration, and there's greed.
Yeah.
So it's about honestly just sitting down with them, finding out what's important to them, and then just offering them the opportunity. Hey, I want to help you get this home sold. It seems to me like this is a challenging moment, and I totally understand why. Look, Mary Jane's living in the property. John is over here living in Canada. Michael's over here in Colorado. The property is in Vegas. Like, what are we doing here, guys? What are you going to do with this property? Well, we all want to get our cut out of it. We want to move on with our lives. Great. Let's be fair. How are we going to get the most out of this market? We're going to have to create a bidding war, and we're going to see what the market's going to pay. By doing that, we're going to achieve fair market value, and out of those proceeds, you guys are all going to get your cut. That way, then it's fair for everybody. Maybe Mary Jane has got something in the will that states because she lives there, she gets a slightly higher portion or whatever it may be. But she can stay in that property. Look, Mary Jane, you can stay in the property until we get it sold. I don't have a problem with that. As long as you understand that unless the new buyer wants you to stay on as a tenant, you do need to leave the property. But, we're going to work with you. We're going to only come once during the week, one during the weekend for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we're going to have it all done and dusted. You'll be all fine. We'll be least intrusive as possible. That's just it's just a conversation. It's just about advice. Like I don't classify myself as a real estate agent. I classify myself as an advisor. And part of my advisoring skill set is by offering a tool, which is auction. Right? I advise you on how an auction can help you go from for sale to sold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it's whenever there's a death or there is a breakup or there's cheating involved or something like that, there's always animosity. There's always two heads butting. You just got to break it down. Like, Conrad, we're actually therapists. You know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got clients that call me doctor. Can I book in a session? And at the end of it, we know the property. It's like the intention is they just want someone to talk to who's not going to brainwash them and not going to give them false materials for their own benefit. You know yourself how many agents are out there that will overquote a listing and overprice it just so they can get it. And then later on, they'll post online all excited. We've had a price improvement. No, you just overpriced it to start with. And you just don't, you bought a listing and you held them ransom. It happens all the time. So this is not a thing. But back to your question on timeline earlier, we don't need more than a 40-day listing agreement, Conrad.
Right.
40 days. Now, I know I said 28-day program. Why am I saying 40 days? 40 days is to get your due diligence put together, get our marketing ready. So that way when we're proactive, we're here to go. If you're an agent out there doing expired calls or you're a seller who's gone expired, you're probably going to hear the same Mike Ferry script from every agent calling you. Hi, Conrad. I'm sure you noticed your home comes as an expired listing. I'm wondering when you're looking to interview the right agent. Never. Ha, ha, ha. Well, if you were looking to sell, where are you going to go? Oh, really? What do you think stopped you from selling last time? If I could show you a way to get your home sold in 30 days or less, would you give me 5 minutes of your time? That's the Mike Ferry script, right?
Right.
Never used it once. Because why? I'm a robot if I say it because everyone's saying the same script. But one thing I pick up on that script that I use for our leverage as an auction company is, Conrad, did that agent tell you they're going to sell your home in 30 days or less? Yes. Did they come to your house and give you a 6-month contract? Yes. Are they selling your house 6 times?
Right.
Why are they not confident enough to do a 40-day listing agreement? I'll tell you why. Because average days on market is 90 days.
Right.
And they've overpriced your listing to get it. And they know they need 6 months to get you down and educate you and bash you. This is going to create a lot of hate messages for me. So I'm sure people are going to hate me.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? It's the true facts. If you get a 40-day listing agreement, Conrad, and you do everything you were supposed to do and just the timing didn't happen, you need a little bit more, guess what the seller's going to do? They're going to give you an extension.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it right. They just need a bit more time. But if you get a 6-month contract after 40 days, you've done diddly squat. No one's happy with what you've done. What are they trying to do? Cancel your contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about being professional. That's all it is. Be a human being. Be compassionate. Be honorable to yourself more than anyone else. Like, have respect for yourself.
Absolutely.
So that's how I look at it. It does work, guys. This is a great tool. And yeah, there's a lot of games out. There's a lot of games being played in our industry, and there will continue to be games being played in our industry. And you're seeing massive shifts with big companies buying everything up now. You've got Compass on one side, you've got What's it called? You've got the other guys from Better Homes and Gardens on the other side that are buying up other stuff. Zillow versus Redfin right now, right?
Yeah.
Zillow Group versus Compass Group, because
Right.
Redfin now amalgamated with Compass as well. So there's all these different tools, and there's all these different things. Like now you can see on Zillow off-market deals. Well, guess what? If it's on the internet, it's on market.
Right.
You're not off market.
That's correct. That's correct.
Guess what they're going to do? They're going to sell you leads off it. They're going to charge people money to have access to that. It's just a revenue raising exercise. It's not selling your house. It's getting somebody else paid.
Yeah. It's a marketing ploy. It's nothing good for the consumer specifically, in my point of view. Just my point of view, because if you want to put on the market, you put on the market. If you want to test the market, but I don't want to work with people that want to test the market. You're selling a house because you want a result. You don't want just to hey, I'm going to do this, and the agent spends $1,000 on photography, their time, and money and gas on door knocking the neighborhood and all that other stuff. It's just a marketing ploy.
I've often said to a seller, if you really want to list at that price and you really want all these terms, I'm going to have you pay for all the marketing.
Yeah.
And I'll reimburse you at closing.
Yeah.
They won't pay it. Why? Because they know that's not worth that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So a big reason why agents are very successful in Australia particularly is because agents don't pay for marketing in Australia. The ones that do pay for marketing are no longer in business.
Mm-hmm.
A seller pays for I just sold my place in Australia. It actually closed last week, actually. Ironically, I never saw the place. It was an investment property I bought 10 years ago. Sold it 10 years later, never saw it once. But I had my agent do everything for me over there. Everything was easily done over DocuSign. I didn't have to worry about things. It was just an easier process because I trusted my agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I paid 3%. In Australia, you pay 1.5. I paid a 3% commission because I wanted the full service, and I didn't want to shortchange my friend, for one.
Right.
When you shortchange your friend, guess what your friend does to your listing?
Cut corners.
Shortchanges the service.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to be able to complain if I'm not happy. You can't complain if you're getting it for free. Right? So you want to level, you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. Having said that, that's why we wanted to keep our buy premium at 2, not more, because we want to be fair. This is a big purchase for a lot of people. Most times we sell it over $1 million. It's 20 grand at $1 million. It goes up goes up by then from there. And that's why we want to make sure we give people an easier way. I call it the 2% opportunity cost. For 2%, I can help you buy your home. If you're buying into an area that's had 7% growth or 3 to 5% growth every year, you're making money still. You haven't lost.
Agree.
So it's just about product knowledge. And there is not a lot of product knowledge just in real estate in general. Then you throw auctions on top, people get a little bit overwhelmed or scared. Same way with AI. Same way when CRMs came out. Same way when the internet came out. It's just another tool that is supposed to help us and can help you if you use it correctly, but is a major distraction to the industry.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. So
let's get into doing loans in 40 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
What personality is that? What connection is that with that? There is no personal connection associated with that transaction.
Yep. It's super just analytical numbers, and you and I both know that emotions sell houses more than anything else.
That's why I love residential, because emotions is what gets people to buy, and that's what as an auctioneer, that's what gets them to give that little bit extra. You're in that crowd, Conrad, and I'm just gonna, hypothetically, you're out there, you've got your partner's out there with you, she's squeezing your hand. Mm-hmm. I'm looking over at you, God help you, I'm honing in on you like nothing else.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate me if you don't love me. I'm going to make you spend every dollar you've got, but you're going to love me because I got your wife so happy that your life's going to be a lot easier from this moment moving forward.
Absolutely. I won't be sleeping on the couch.
That's what we have to be doing. Like Conrad, so you're at the auction, we're looking for a $5,000 rise. Can I say a $5,000 rise, sir? I know you've been here so many times. I know you've looked at the garage. I know your car collection would look amazing in there. Do you want to be looking at homes for the next 4 weeks, or would you rather spend the next 4 weeks preparing your garage for football season, when you can sit in there and chill out with the boys on a weekend? Let's get you that property, sir. Come on, $5,000. $5,000 over a term of a 30-year fixed loan is 1 cup of coffee a month.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1 cup of coffee a week, sorry. If that's 1 cup of coffee, can you get 1 cup of coffee to keep your wife happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get you this property. There's $5 more grand. Now, again, back to the point of timeline, that just happened in what, 30 seconds? Traditionally, that could take you days to get that increase on paper.
Right.
So that's the biggest difference about what we do. It's just the same. It's the same method as far as like the transaction goes. It's just done streamlined. It's more of a hybrid version of the traditional method. The traditional method is somewhat outdated. It works still. It works really well. It's just outdated. That's all.
Agree.
Yeah.
Let me get into some of these comments, and we'll just kind of you've answered some of these questions already, but I just want to put it on the screen so people could feel part of this. So, do you only do stressed properties for auctions?
No, we don't do anything. We don't do anything that's distressed. We only do non-distressed. I have done some homes, like the one we just did with you. It obviously didn't look as good, but it wasn't distressed, right? It wasn't in a foreclosure. If she hadn't sold at that time, she tried to hold it and may have gone into a foreclosure down the track. But we got to it before it was in a foreclosure. If you're in a pre-foreclosure, I can definitely help you save your property.
Yeah,
that's a big point we didn't even talk about actually. Pre-foreclosure, if you get a notice of default, you're going to start getting harassed by collectors real quick. And it's going to make your life horrible. You're going to avoid picking up your phone. You're going to avoid things. And what does that do? It only makes the case worse. Hand on heart can tell you that from personal experience. Don't run from the problems. Face them head first. By doing that, we can help you. If you've got equity in the property and you just got a notice of default, we can reach out to your bank or your institution that you're lending with, and we can tell them we're going to be doing an auction on the property. Guess what they would have done if they took over? They would have done an auction on the property. So we're doing something that would save them from doing it, which makes it easier for everybody else. So they will normally give you an extension of time on your notice of default. That's where we can help a lot of people. But that's the closest I would get to a distressed property. So we don't do distressed. We're doing everyday, traditional, unique, and luxury.
Absolutely. What is a buyer premium? You mentioned
buyer premium is an amount of money that a buyer will pay at closing. So on your closing docs, or your closing net sheet, you will see a line item that will say auction services that is payable to the auction company from the buyer. It is 2% of the purchase price. So if you're buying at $1 million, there's going to be a line item of $20,000 to RECA LLC for auction services rendered. Now, if you're getting a loan, your offer you may need to make your offer $1,020,000, including the buyer premium. That way, then you can get that 20 paid out through financing in case you don't have that liquid cash. But that's what the buyer premium is.
Absolutely. And Crystal was recharging. Let me see here. And you mentioned divorce is the best for auction because
auction is only the best thing to do. Divorce is only the best thing to do on auction on days ending in Y.
Yeah.
Every day. It works on divorces exceptionally well.
Absolutely. Because it just takes away
you may get some pushback from an attorney, and that may only be the reason being because he has an agent in mind for himself that he or she wants to use that they're going to get a kickback from. Otherwise, this is the most legally honest and transparent way to sell a divorce property.
I agree. It just takes away the fight, which costs the legal fees too. So it saves more money for the.
Yeah, it's already racking up bills with the attorneys. The attorneys are sitting back laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
let's not waste money unnecessarily.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Crystal. I appreciate that.
They are. I agree with that comment. What's a pre-auction offer? It's a standard offer on our RPA with our auction terms and conditions attached, and hopefully a contingency removal form with it. The contingency removal form will be waiving all contingencies, making your offer non-contingent and clear to go. If our seller likes it, that's what a pre-auction offer is, and that's what we would accept as a pre-auction offer.
Absolutely. All right. Take that down. Okay. Well, Simon, this has been incredibly helpful. Real practice insight, not just theory. I mean, we just did it ourselves. So
Access, maybe. Yeah.
for anyone watching who wants to connect with Simon directly, his contact info I'll put in the description below. If you're in Orange County or anywhere in Southern California and you're wondering whether your situation, a family home, an inherited property, anything might be a candidate for auction or traditional listing, reach out to me directly. I'm a realtor living in Huntington Beach and a former financial planner, so I'm going to look at your situation from both angles of the case. And Crystal is backstage. And if you're in the San Diego area or your military family navigating a move or a real estate decision, don't hesitate to reach out to her. We do these regular on a weekly basis, and the next one is going to be just as good. We are going to be speaking with a asbestos and lead expert on our live next Thursday. So anybody that's watching live or the replay on YouTube, come next week, and we have more shows lined up for the next coming weeks, including a VA loan specialist who is a military veteran himself, and we also have someone who's going to talk about fixing up your credit and savings to get you maximized. So Simon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, Conrad. And again,
absolutely.
I don't see you as a colleague. I see you as one of my friends. We've had a great relationship. It's only getting stronger and stronger as the years go on. You're a great father from one father to another. I see what you do. You're a great dad. You're a great family guy. You're a great agent. You're a great friend. And this is the type of people I love working with. So, guys, if you're looking to work in real estate with this guy, you're not going to do anything wrong. Either with Crystal as well. Both beautiful people. It was a pleasure and an honor to be aligned with them. And this is just one of many we're going to be doing together. So, guys, watch this space. It's about to get real.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Simon, and like and subscribe for everything else, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, guys.